Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and Wargames, and today we are especially excited because that's it, we have received the first box for Armoured Clash, the epic scale war game in the universe of the dystopian age, so of course of dystopian wars, and I'm very excited to talk to you about this. I was a little bit involved in proofreading the rules, so I know a little bit what is inside, if it didn't change too much, but shouldn't. And I'm very excited for you to discover this game because it is a great epic scale war game. It is just the right level of abstraction to make this game play smoothly and still being very tactical. And we'll talk a little bit about the rules. We're gonna make this video in two parts as always, but since the rules have not yet been released online, like the full rules, I will show you actually from the rulebook directly, and I will explain to you how the game rules. There is like a ton of lore. We'll take a look at this, of course, but I will explain to you how to play this game. We will not make a full like, okay, this is a deep dive on the rules. I will tell you a little bit about the system. We will make a didactic battle report once we have two small armies ready. And we are going to cover Armoured Clash quite good because we should receive soon as well the one-player faction starters. We will make how to start with each of those factions, of course, and then we'll start to record some battle reports as soon as possible. Neither of those armies are going to be mine. The crown is going to be for Zongo, that you know, and this for Valentin, Avner, and we will make them play with each other quite soon. So before the first thing, like maybe you don't know actually what Armoured Clash is, like even though we talked about it a little bit. As you can see, it's epic scale, so one human is not 28 millimeters like you can see on Warhammer 40,000, for example, but a human is going to be almost 3 times smaller at 10 millimeters. So we will have a look at the sprues, and that is going to be the first part of the video, taking a look at all the sprues that you get, what you can get. I will not talk too much, I will try not to talk too much about the different units and how they play. This is going to be more for the how to start with each of the factions, but we will have a look at the sprues, the qualities of it, and what do you actually get inside and what you don't get inside, which is quite important because this starter set is an introductory set and not a starter set, and there are some things that are missing. Some of them I understand, some of them I'm quite upset that you don't get. So without further ado, let's start by opening the box, and once we've checked all of that, we'll take a look at the rules. If you want, as always, you have the little timestamp if you want to skip directly to the rules. First thing that we will say is that it's a heavy box. Like I don't know how heavy it is, but actually I'm gonna weight it, but because it does feel like several kilos. Yeah, as you can see, you do get about 2 kilos of plastic in there, so that is fair quantity. Okay, so we have the, let's say, standard size box that we have for the largest battle fleets in dystopian wars. We've heard that the one-player starter set, like faction starters, oh my god, they're so full. The one-player faction starters are even bigger than this box. This is really meant for you, like if you're not sure that you want to start the Armoured Clash, you buy this box, you share with a friend, you have some terrain, some miniatures, some basic rules, which are those, and as you can see, it's not the same at all, and you don't get all the rules of the game. And this is the first thing that I understand, is that this super thick, amazing rulebook you don't get in the one-player starter set. So I will put it out of the camera so you don't mix what you get and what you don't. And this is just going to be the basics. So you don't have rules for airplanes, even though I open on the airplanes here, but you don't get the rules for the airplanes. You don't get the rules for the land ships either. This tank looks amazing. You just get enough to play with what you get in the box. You get some good art, the basic rules. You can really like build your miniatures, build some terrains. Why they shoot so many planes? And you can just have fun like this, but you don't get the full game. You just have the very basic things. There's even some orders that you cannot do, like hold still, etc., like those that you need tokens for. So it's really like the basic version of the game. I don't know, if you compare to Age of Sigmar, this will be the spearhead version, with each unit having some very specific data sheets, like unique data sheets that are different from the main game. And here is the introductory campaign that you get, where they explain to you, like, okay, here is what you get, some tokens, of course, some scenarios to relive the Battle of Singapore. It's basically a glorified tutorial. We're fine with that. There is a big battle at the end where you can really play the entire content of the boxes, and this is already available online. No, this is available online, the Quickstart rules. This is only going to be inside this box set. And what I wanted to show you here, yeah, as you can see, each unit that you get has a unique datasheet with a unique name, like the 5th Windsor Regiment, the Chariots of Iron, the Iron Sides, okay. And those are not the same as you see in the main game. For example, you remember like when I had this for a little bit, I didn't have the full orbit, and I said like these Tenchi artillery chariots have move or fire. And it means that in this version of the introductory set, they have this restriction to make them weaker and give a little bit of the taste of the unit away, so I'm very unhappy that it has this. But this is just in this specific rulebook. So I take back what I said, this is a very good unit in the main game, but they really have a different balance so the game can be played just out of the box. It's almost, I exaggerate by saying this, but it's almost a board game. You just take what you need and you build the miniatures, you paint them, and it's a game in a box. And you have everything you need in there. And if you later on, you're like, okay, the Quickstart rules are good and I want to get more, you can buy the one-player faction starter set, the landship boxes, which are much cheaper as well. You can get some more terrain or whatever. But this is a good entry point when you want to discover the game and you want something that is ready, just out of the box, everything is ready. You have the dices you need, you have 2 Quickstart rules, and you see if you like the game system or not. And spoiler, you're probably gonna like it because it's a damn good game. We're gonna take a look at it later. Some little advertising, where to download the Orbats. Crown and Empire Orbats have already been released, so that's good. And they talk to you, of course, about Dystopian Wars, because like they want you to cross-buy everything they have. The factions are the same in both games. You do get a map of the world. Oh, this is nice. Is it exactly the same? Yeah, of course. It's the same map, I will show you. We have seen this map before for Dystopian Wars, but it's still the same. We see the main 8 powers. So the Crown in grey, which is one of the 2 factions, basically the British colonial empire, and the empire, which is basically Asia, so China, Japan, India, no, not India, sorry, in Indonesia and all these, I think there are 7 countries in there, and they are united and they conquered South America. It's another dystopian history age, but basically, yeah, they came here and they conquered some part of South America, liberated, let's say. So those are the factions. The next one that are coming very fast, it's going to be the Union. So the very expansionist Americans after the American Secession War, Civil War in English. And they are coming end of November. Then it's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, the Covenant. The Covenant is those little secret base that you see, these little dots. They're the crazy scientists and their main forces are in Antarctica. Then we're going to get the Imperium, the Germans, and Scandinavian and stuff. Then the Commonwealth, Russians, Polish, Mongolians. And finally, we are going to get the Alliance, the French mostly, Italians a little bit as well, and South Americans, Resistance. And the last faction we're going to get for the game is going to be the Sultanate. We're very excited for them, but they're going to be like end of 2025. Okay, that's it for the map. Let's go back to the content of the box. And just, just before one thing, you have, I hope we can see, you have on the other side of the map this giant, very cool artwork of the crown, if you want to, like, have it hanged somewhere. Damn, it looks cool. Okay, let's continue to have a look at what you get inside. And the very interesting thing is the first time ever I see this in a box, it's covered in plastic, like the sprues, so they don't go around. They... That's actually very smart, and probably this is for the crown and this is for the empire. So if you buy it in the shop, you can just open the box and share it with your friends right away without having any issues. And absolutely not, because this is crown tanks like infantry sprues, and this is crown armored sprues with the Galahads. So this is probably just infantry, both empire, and yeah, it's I hope they would do what I just said, but no, it's just they packed it without any specific thought. Still, it's nice that it doesn't break around. We're gonna take a look at the sprues just after. You have the Resin commanders, probably for the Empire and for the Crown. We'll have a look at them later. Yes, this was for the Empire and for the Crown. Okay, we'll take a look. You get some dices, one set for each player, good. And some tokens, again, 2 for each player, so they have enough to play by themselves. That is, again, very good. We'll take a look. Like, this is much more obvious than for the Dystopian Wars. For example, the activation one is like this, and it's very clear. Like, it's like, okay, checked, you're done. This is probably suppressed. This is disorganized. probably broken or something, maybe double march. This one is hidden or shrouded, as they say. And this is the only one that I'm a bit upset. Like, it's not broken or anything, as if you could guess. It's reloading. I hope they would put, like, you know, 3 bullets next to each other, maybe with a circle to turn around to say it's reloading. But that's how it is. So you get 4 sets of tokens, 1 set of dice for each player. It's still only going to be 12 dice per player, but at smaller scale game, which is what you get there, it's okay. The Resin commanders, we'll take a look at them at the very end, and the sprues. Let's start to open the sprues. Okay, let's start the sprues with the objective and movement sprues. So quite standard. I quite like that you have those objective sprues. Let me correct the light so you see a bit better. It looks like a smile with the nose and the eyes. Nice one. Yeah, I believe you will see a bit better like this, light-wise. So you might wonder, like, why do I have those? Like, it's not Dystopian Wars, you don't have ships anymore. Well, you do have land ships, and land ships are lumbering, as they say. And of course, you know this from Dystopian Wars, it means they cannot turn as much as they want. They have a little bit of inertia. And some movement tools, you can go a bit further. It goes to 10 and 15, this we knew, but it goes to 20, 25, 30. Interesting. It goes to, does it go to 40? No. It goes to 35, but still, that's huge. Okay, so you get, of course, 1 for each player. That makes sense. And then we start to have a look at the Armoured Sprues. Actually, I would like to prefer to start with the Infantry Sprues, which are... Let's start here, indeed, with the Crown Infantry Sprues. I'm really trying to get you the best light possible, and I will zoom in so you see a bit better. Okay, so Crown Infantry Sprues. And you're supposed to get 2 of those, because in the faction introductory set. So you will be able to do, for example, if we check for the tanks, like transports, you have 1 here, 1 there. So you are going to take 2 transports. Again, I will not go too much in detail of each of the sprues and how they look, but you can see that you have this transport that is kind of like a rhino. You can put a little cannon on top of them, of each of them. You have 2 of those. I know those are the Drake field guns, right? And this is the 3rd one, probably, if you want to put it on this tank. Okay, all right. The one thing I really wanted to take a deeper look with, I know there has been some videos already on the internet, but let's take a look at the infantry, and oh wow, it's so small. Okay, I knew it was small, but look at this. How do you even paint this? I think you will need to get some contrast paint or speed paint if you want to do this efficiently. Okay, yes, they look very good. They're not like Legion's Imperialis, where they had a good side and a bad side, the infantry. Here they only have good sides. I don't know how War Cradle managed to do something and Games Workshop completely failed, but here we are. We recognize really the style of the Crown. I'm not talking about how they play this, I'm gonna talk more in the how to start video, but here you just see you have so many miniatures. You have the snipers, the sharp rifles, of course, a lot of basic infantry with their little, I don't know, British helmet. I think they have a name like Pilth helmet, something like this. If you know that, type it in the comment. I always forget the name, and if it means something, please let me know what it is. Then the sappers, the engineers from Scotland. A lot of details on those guys. Well, good that it's not me that's gonna paint it, because that would be a daunting task. Though at the scale, like when they're gonna be down on the table, and if you can see it, you can basically undercoat them and just paint the helmet and the face at the same time, and it's gonna look good enough from far away. If you really want to get crazy and show them at the video, you can paint them at the highest level. Otherwise, I don't think that's something you want to spend too much time on the infantry, because you can get a good mass effect from far away. Next one is going to be the Empire infantry sprues. They look so cute, like they're so small. But it's very nice. You have a lot of different green banner units. You have those with the shield. I think this is the basic green banner. You have those with the flames, those with the rockets, those with the Jezail. I think the Jezail are in the armored sprue, actually. So yeah, very, very nice design. I have to say, like, you really need to have a camera and zoom on it, because if I try to look at it by myself, it's so small. Like, it's almost hard to see the level of detail that they have. They have insane detailing. Like, what kind of plastic technology do you need to make? Do you see the scale on this officer. Like it has kind of like layered armor and scale, like dragon scale armor, and it's like so small. It's like 0.01 millimeter. Like I exaggerate, but I'm pretty sure the scales are less than a millimeter, each of them. How do you paint them? Well, with speed paint. I'm pretty sure. Like I'm no painting expert, but I'm pretty sure you cannot do it otherwise. You have these little chariots as well that transport the artillery, the one that has move or fire in Singapore, otherwise there are some normal rules where they are a bit stronger. The airborne infantry, Balnabang, I need to learn the names, but yeah, the airborne Korean infantry. This guy, is it a fire sword that he has? No, it's a flamethrower. Yeah, this scale it can be even harder. Yeah, if you want to make OSL on this scale of miniatures, good luck, you have all my sympathies. And then the automatas, the kind of like golem terracotta army. As you can see, they are twice as tall as normal humans. Still, they're quite small for the to paint. But yeah, they have these very cool looking weapons, and I cannot wait to tell you more about how they play. I could do it now, but then the video would be like 10 hours. And yeah, but the Empire is such a fun faction to play. The Crown as well. Like for now, it's a home run on the faction personality. They play very differently, but both play styles seem very fun, and I would love to play with each of them. But I'm not going to collect all of them because we need to give some armies to other players, so we have people to play battle reports with. Okay, second Empire Infantry Sprues. Okay, then we have the Empire Armored Sprue with the giant ball of death, the Yanche flame tank, and then the normal one that I completely forgot the name. I'm sorry. The one thing that I really wanted to see was the jet bikes, which are extremely cool. And oh my god, now that's a jet bike. Games Workshop, learn from this and do cool design like this. I'm pretty sure it's hard to... I'm trying to put my fingers behind so you can appreciate the scale, because I'm pretty sure it's very hard to understand how small those things are on a video. Like this rifle, it looks amazing, but it's so small, oh my god. Like, it's incredibly cool though, and I really cannot wait to start to make battle reports with this. Like, guys, Zongo, Avner, I need you guys to paint this very fast because I cannot wait to start to make some battle reports with it. Really, the more time goes and the more I'm like, okay, the scale that I like is like 10 millimeters and lower, because it really allows you to make some very impressive, massive army without taking too much space at home. And when you see, like, either with STLs, either with those plastic from War Cradle, all these games that I've been releasing in the last few years have such a level of details that you basically have exactly the same level of details as 28 or 32 millimeters. You just have, they're just smaller. There is supposed to be a giant lion as well, and I'm trying to, there they are. The giant lion, which is not at all a guardian, but is a cavalry unit actually that goes a little bit fast. So, well, it's quite cool. And you're supposed to have some artillery as well on top of the tanks and the jet bikes and everything. And yeah, I see the cannons there. I just don't see the body of the artillery, but it's there somewhere. Lovely, lovely sprue. Second armored sprue, of course. And we finished the first half. That is good. Then we should have some armored sprue for the crown and probably a lot of terrain. Let's have a look. We indeed now have the crown armored sprue, and oh my god, look at this tank. It's gonna be quite big and thick once it's fully built. I really like this scale, like that. This is a tank. Like, when you compare it to the little guy that can point out of it, I guess you can have an officer going out. It looks really good. Well, it's probably a cavalry officer, because you also have all the horses, the horse guard, fast, efficient cavalry, and it looks like cavalry, but it's actually mechanical horses. Great concept, and it looks very good. I like that they don't basically just have cavalry, but they try to make it a little bit more dystopian age fitting. Then you're supposed to have also the other wheels for the big artillery. This is also part of the big artillery. The Mordred are the boars, if I'm not mistaken. This is the front of the tank if you use the transport version with the assault ramp. And yeah, armored sprue with some artillery officer, the artillery, the horse guard, and the big tanks. The crown is the most traditional of all the factions, and they really play like they want to face the enemy head on. They have a lot of frontal armor, like in Dystopian Wars, And yeah, if you face the crown army from the front and you try to, I don't know, charge a defensive position of the crown, you're not gonna do a lot of damage and they're just gonna absolutely obliterate you. So they are the most classical but not very mobile faction. They do have some transport and stuff. They don't go very fast, and it forces the enemy to, if they want to be efficient against the crown, you need to flank them. That is the way to deal with them, because they're just way too armored for you to take them head on. So you get a second sprue, okay? And then all the terrain. You have, I guess, 5 sprues of terrain. Oh, this is okay, not only terrain. So okay, let's not get too mixed up. I will stop the zoom so you see a bit better. You have, of course, infantry bases. Makes a lot of sense. I like that some of them have holes, and you have some of them without holes if you want to make your own little sceneries. And you also have this, I guess, if you want to fill up the holes and, again, do a little scenery. So you have options in there. And you have a flag, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I was surprised that there was not more infantry bases, because I was like, wait a second, guys, there is a lot of infantry around. And yeah, you have a lot more. Probably the Empire has a little bit more, because I think they have more infantry, and their green banner go 8x8 instead of 6x6. So yeah, when I give the sprues away to Zongo and Avner, I need to be careful that they do have the right amount of infantry bases. And I just found the last one. So okay, 3 infantry bases for the Empire and 3 for the Crown, who are doomed to die. Oh my god, no, there is much more. it doesn't stop. Like, there are hidden, between each sprue of terrain, there is more and more infantry bases being hidden. Good, at first I was like, okay, we're gonna start to run out, but no, you absolutely will not run out of this at all. I guess this is also useful for the artillery, like I'm thinking of the Drake field gun for the Crown. And they are on little bases as well, and you do need a flat base like this to make it work. Okay, that's it, I promise. We end up in the end with 4 sprues of terrain, after all is said and done. 2 of each type. We've already made an unboxing of this, and you have seen those in battle reports already, and you will see more and more. We have an upcoming Dystopian Wars battle report, a siege of a massive underground fortress, and there is a lot of Armoured Clash terrain that you will see there. And we have found out that they work as well, very well, for Dystopian Wars, because these cannons, for example, that you can put, it's a good like tank-sized cannon for Armoured Clash, but it looks like a light gun battery for Dystopian Wars. So really, actually, except if you look at the size of the doors, and even doors could be like for letting a little frigate going out or something, those terrains are really good as well for Dystopian Wars. That's what we found out. And finally, of course, you get some Resin commanders. And this is the first part when I'm going to be a little bit sad, because the one-player faction starter set, which is huge and is like a lot more expensive, but you get so much inside, you don't get those little Resin commanders. They are exclusive for if you buy the Battle for Singapore. And it makes me a little bit sad, because I love them and I hoped that they would be available in the one-player starter set. You don't need them, because you can just make your officers without, but they are so cute. Well, except this guy. Like the crown guy is basically just a fat guy on a motor wheel, which I guess is how British people see themselves. But joke aside, he's, I think, a character from Wild West Exodus, if I am not mistaken. Can you focus? Yes, thank you. And the little bagpipe player in the back. Very cute, and it's basically just 2 infantry models that you can replace your officers with, and it makes your supreme commander, and I like it. You need them for the Battle of Singapore because they are main characters of the story. Like, this guy basically makes a mess and leaves with the prisoner that he wanted. I will not spoil it. There is a big revelation at the end of the Battle for Singapore. Like, the crown finds out something about the Empire and the Emperors especially. I will try not to spoil, but if you know, you know. And I cannot wait to see if they will share this big, shocking reveal or not. And for the Empire, the same. You have this very... Oh my god. Look at the level of detail. I'm already at zoom times 2. Let's try it times 3. 3.5 maybe. So you can see the detail. Look at the detail of this guy. He's so small, the commander on the right. He had this very cool pistol. How do you even paint that? It's a bit intimidating, I would have to say. I really think like you have to use speed paint. You know, the paints that automatically go in the crevice and the little empty space to make some shading, let's say. I'm no painter, but you see what I am talking about, because if you like it's too little otherwise. You really need to have those speed paints. I really recommend you to go either to have the English tutorials of Speed Demon painting. I'm pretty sure you will make some painting tutorials, and of Top Secret Painting. Karun, our painter for Dystopian Wars and Armoured Clash and Full Spectrum Dominance, etc. And he speaks in French, but we've checked the automatic subtitles of YouTube are so good. Like they're basically perfect now that they've been using AI to auto-translate. And then you have this automata on the side with this very cool pose, and it's amazing. Like just having those two guys as my supreme commanders would make me want to start playing Empire. But no, I'm keeping myself for the Union because I'm a true patriot of democracy. So that is all that you get in this introductory starter set. That's a lot. It's really like everything you want in one box. It's quite cheap, like it's even cheaper than the one-player starter set, but it's really meant for you to have a first taste, because you do have a lot of sprues and everything, but you don't have everything. Like you don't have this, for example. This is not included. This is something that Warcradle sent to me on the side. Thank you very much. We'll take a look at it in a second. But this is basically, you can build your army. British force here, Empire force there. Each of you have your objectives, your little movement markers, your tokens, your bases, of course, some dices, Quickstart rules, and then you have some terrain that you can build. Each of you have 2 sprues, and then you build some terrain, or one player builds terrains for everyone, and then you can just have a little table with little buildings all around. Your miniatures, your basic simple rules, your tokens, your dices, and then you can try the game for a very cheap price. And that's how I think you should consider this. It's not a huge, supermassive 2-player starter set that you want to buy 2 times or 3 times to have lots of miniatures. It's the way to jump into the game with a friend if you're not sure about liking the game or not, and you want to consider almost as a board game, like everything in one box to play. If you already know Dystopian Wars, know Dystopian Age, or you want the best deal, you should probably go more for the 1-player starter set, because we made the calculation of what you gain. It's almost 4 times the savings in a euro. Like with this that you have here, I think it's like around 60 euros for all of this, which is a crazy deal. And you save about 20 euros. So 20 euros of discount, still very good. If you take the 1-player starter set, which is 150 euros, so almost like 2.5 times this, you have a ton more things, like more sprues, huge land ships, rules, cards, much more things than this. And you save about 93 euros, if I remember the calculations correctly, on everything. So you save almost 4 times more with the 1-player starter set. So this is not your best deal for jumping inside Armoured Clash if you're alone and you don't have a friend to share the factions with. Your best jump into Armoured Clash is a 1-player faction starter set that we will cover when we receive them. I have the PowerPoint slides already ready to record, so as soon as we get it, I will make a full how to start video. But if you have a friend, you don't have terrain, and you're like, okay, let's have a play together, this is a very good entry, cheap starting point to make a first few games of Armoured Clash. Just to note, the 1-player starter set also has terrain, but this we'll see later. Okay, that's it for the introductory introductory set, the Battle for Singapore. Let's now have a look at the little extra if you play the full game. And we continue with the analysis, like a quick review of the rules. I say quick, but as always, I say quick, and I end up making 30 minutes of rambling about it. I'm sorry about this. And we're gonna check, of course, the command cards, which are an essential part of the game. And this is the main thing that I will say. The Battle for Singapore introductory starter set is missing the cards. This is a huge part of the game, and the whole game has been balanced around it, and you cannot play the real Armoured Clash without it. It's even more important, the cards in Armoured Clash, than in Dystopian Wars. And it makes me very sad that they didn't bump the price a little bit more and had 2 sets of cards in this, or at least 1 pack of cards, and then you say like, yeah, share it for your first few games, but it's really such a missing part of the game, and it makes me a little bit sad, and we'll take a look at it. Basically the same as in Dystopian Wars, you have a part where you can gain some points, victory points, if you succeed the condition, or you can use it to give yourself a little boost. And damn, just read this, and yeah, those are very strong. Well, same as in Dystopian Wars. And the cool thing is that you can run out of cards, and if it happens, unlike in Dystopian Wars, it's a very bad thing. It's called a communication breakdowns. You have some malus, and there is really a whole betting systems. The Fortunes of War does not exist in Armoured Clash, and we'll take a look at this. Like, I'm not gonna ramble right now before we say it. But for example, everybody can do Fortunes of War all the time. Someone bets a card, you don't know the number, and you need to put a card if you want. It's not needed. You may put a card if you want, and then you reveal and you see if it was enough or not. And in either case, you lose the card that you try to counter. So it's much more bluffing, and it adds a game in a game of like always trying to bluff. Okay, I'm using a card, I'm trying to make a communication breakdown for the opponent. It's a huge part of the game, and it's missing, and I'm very happy that Warcradle sent it to me, but I'm very sad for people that buy just the Battle for Singapore and think they will get the whole Dystopian Wars experience, because they will not. And not Dystopian Wars, Armoured Clash. I need to start telling the right things. First thing that I will say about this box set is that you have basically half of the book is fluff. So they explain to you, again, the big map, if you want to have a big look. Oh no, we don't see France, it's in the middle. And you have an explanation of the Battle for Singapore, some new characters, I'm pretty sure, yeah, those are new, most of them, yes. I think we've seen her already. It's the hero that allows you to deep strike your giant robots in Dystopian Wars and get much stronger. And yeah, each faction, so the Alliance, which are of course chivalrous, proud and fierce, they will not say bad things. It's like in the Codex for Warhammer, you're always the best when you read them. But yeah, the Alliance is my favorite faction, and because it looks so good. You have some reports, like the same as in Dystopian Wars, you see other factions talking about the Alliance in secret reports and everything. For example, Mia Stein, probably someone from the Imperium, the French Legionnaires with their super cool looking, it's basically a heat rifle, which is very fun. The Commonwealth as well, with the Officialny Rapport, a lot of content, and again, Officialny Rapport, they have two words, but it's very cool to see this fluff. You can see the infantry to give a vibe of like who they are, the crown that we've seen as well, and you can see with their special helmet. I really don't know what it is, but it's like Victorian era things. Like the Empire, collaborative. Yeah, when you're a hive mind, of course you're collaborative, and with this very cool infantry. Some okay. Oh, there you even have the side of the. Okay, they explain how the tank actually works, and this side, I love this. Like this gives so much to the setting. The Covenant, of course, the most important faction in the setting. Like they started everything. Yeah, they're more Frankenstein than Jules Verne, but still very cool. It is indeed Anna von Malberg, so we know her for the Imperium of the Prussians, the Germans of the setting. Very well. You have the Sultanate with the Sherazade. Is it? No, it's Shireen Nazili. Okay, we'll read the fluff later to know who those guys are. And the very cool Janissaries. And of course the Americans, the Union with Tesla here. Well, yeah, Tesla is American now. Like there's been some stuff, some changes. And the Federal Trooper looking incredibly cool. Like we've seen already the first render. Those guys look very modern, almost sci-fi, and I love it. I am here for it. Little summary, always useful to remember. Like you just go at the end of the book and you remember like what each of those things do. Okay, wrecked. It was not like broken, it was wrecked. It's like when the model, like a giant ship, this is something very cool as well. When a giant ship, like a land ship, is destroyed, it stays on the terrain and you can use it as cover, or you can even garrison it with some specific type of unit. It's very cool. Okay, how to know like the penalties. It's very cool to have all of this at the end. It's a very good quality book. And yeah, they explain to you, of course, play Dystopian Wars. Okay, we've seen that part. Okay, I'll probably make another timestamp here. So hi again if you skipped the fluff part. And now let's have a look at Armoured Clash and how do you actually play the game. Again, we will not make the full like, okay, you start the turn like this, you do this, you do this. We'll just tell you a little bit how it plays. We'll make one like discovery battle report where we'll play a full game at low scale to really show you a little bit of everything. Basically, what I really like about, well, first of all, about the scale is that it's small enough at 10 millimeters that you can have huge armies and not take much space and have these giant land ships, but it's big enough that tanks are quite big actually. And the infantry, you can see the details that you've seen for the unboxing part. There, you can play on smaller tables. If you've played Epic or Dystopian Wars, you will not be very shocked with the display movement. I have to say the rulebook is much clearer than the one in Dystopian Wars. Dystopian Wars is a great game, but there are things that are not perfect. Let's hope when there's going to be a 4th edition that they're going to correct this. But yeah, the rulebook was not user-friendly, let's say. And now it's much, much better. They really explain to you open formation, like the whole thing is very enjoyable. Again, we will not go through all the rules, but it's basically like if you've played Epic, you know how it is. If you don't, you have activations, like little units. So you don't play base by base. Each base has like 4 or 5 infantry on it, for example, and you move them like 6 by 6 or 4 by 4, etc. And each wound that you would lose on the infantry, you remove a base. And then, of course, it reduces your firepower and everything. I will show you when we reach the data sheet. It's very cool. As I've said, the largest ship, like land ships, are ponderous, so you move them like a ship in Dystopian Wars. There are different status. Again, not going too much in detail. The important thing that I want to show you is about the conquest cards, and this I've already talked about it a little bit, but it basically means that every time you have an action, you can choose to not do it. For example, when you have suppression and a rally test, you can choose not to pick a card to try to rally yourself because you want to keep your cards for later. And that's very cool. And you can always try to make an interception. And it's just such a big part of the game, and the bluff and trying to save your cards, that I just love it. Of course, the larger the battle, the more cards you have in your hands, but the faster you can have communication breakdowns because you don't have different size of cards for different size of games. Okay, you can give special commands to your units. There is on tabletop that did a first battle report because they're like, I think they're part of the Wayland games or something like this, and they have the games of course way in advance, and they made a full battle report, like actually 2 of them already, and they really show well. If you don't want to wait for us to make our first battle report, which I understand, have a look at on tabletop. They made a battle report showing how the game plays, and it's quite good. But what I want to show you first in this rule set is not the activation phase, is how you resolve attacks, which is, let's be honest, the important thing. Like I can tell you there are some reaction, you can make some fire, or when an enemy moves around, it's good, you have a few orders, double time, a charge, aiming, okay, very cool. But this is the heart of the game. And probably the next one is going to be resolving outflank, okay, indeed. So when you attack, and this is the thing that makes the game very, very cool. I would like to have a data sheet somewhere to show you. Okay, I took the card, like the data sheets from the Battle for Singapore, because I really wanted to show you how the data sheet reads. And the important, fun part is that, for example, those are Black White Dragoons, or let's take something clear, like a tank. Yeah, there they are, the Summer Falcons, main battle tanks. Okay, it's a tank. So you have 2 models. And the thing that is very cool is how you calculate your number of dices. Well, for example, you see there, you have armaments. It doesn't say like you have a 75mm cannon, flamethrowers, whatever. It just tells how efficient you are against a certain type of unit. So if with your tank you have little machine guns, you shoot at infantry, you have 2 ranges, short range, long range, okay? You throw 3 dices, which is not a lot. And if you shoot at enemy tanks, which is your preferred targets, you have a little bit closer range, but you throw 6 dices. So your tanks, despite being tanks, they're very tough, we'll take a look, but they shoot better at enemy heavy units than at enemy lights. And then they have impact, because they're tanks. If they charge, they make some impact rolls. You can see that infantry, for example, the rifle command platoon, they shoot, okay, good against light. They cannot shoot at heavy units. They don't have the weapons for it. And if they fight in melee, it's not only impact, they also can make turn after turn battles in melee, because the tanks only can do impact hits. And that makes the game very cool. Like, it's a little bit abstract, but I prefer this than things like, okay, I love Netipic Palladium, but at some point you have too many rolls and too many subset of weapons that are basically exactly the same, except there's 2 inches of difference of range. Here it's much more abstract, but you still can guess what a weapon does on the model, and then you just see the efficiency. It's such a clever way to not waste time on things that are not that important, and I love it. So okay, you have those number of dices. You want to target an enemy. How does it happen? Let's go back to the main rulebook. It happens that you can choose a target, there are a few things, and then you have bonuses or penalties. And for example, if you are in short range, so you've seen we have 2 range, you get a bonus. If you are aiming, it's an action that you need to do, because you have 2 actions, you can do move, shoot, etc., but you can aim and shoot, it gives you another bonus. And then there are penalties. For example, you're suppressed, or you are trying to make reactionary fire, or you're reforming, starts to be a lot, or the enemy is concealed. Sometimes they have generators that give them concealed, or maybe they're in a forest. And then you see how good you are, and depending on what you get, if you have more bonus than penalties, your attack is improved. If you have more penalties than bonus, you are weakened, your attack is weakened, otherwise you're neutral. And then we'll see how you roll. It impacts the attack roll, and that's really cool. Same for melee. It's a little bit different for melee. Basically, if you flank, you get a bonus. If you are infantry and you target armor or fortification, you have a bonus. So infantry is very good in melee against tanks, very good. And you are supported, so there is another friendly unit, not model, not base, but another activation, let's say, within 2 inches. Okay. And then if you're suppressed, you have a malus penalty. And if you're threatened, so there is another enemy unit, you get another penalty. But you see, it's easier to have good bonuses when you are in melee, to reward kind of like taking the risk, while there are much more ways to gain penalties while shooting. Of course, you have a few actions. I'm not going too much in detail, but then you know how many dice you have. You can be, for example, weakened or neutral, and you have good attacks. What happens then? Basically, there are 6 faces on the dice. Okay. No, I don't shock anyone by saying this. There are those faces. Each of them, there is only 1 face, except the strike, and there are 2 faces with this. Okay. Let me take the die and make an example. So, okay, as you can see, these are proprietary dices. You have 1 hit here and 1 hit. Yeah, you have those 2 which are strikes. It basically scores 1 hit, is the most common. You have a blank, which are always bad, like it's the worst. You have this, which is explosive. It's exactly the same as in Dystopian War. So when you make a heroic strike, you can roll another dice, but you don't get successive explosion. Like you cannot go too far. It's not. You only have it from the initial roll, those extra heroic strikes. Okay, and then the 2 interesting part is going to be this and this. The miss, this, and the glancing strike. And actually, those are going to be impacted by your combat rating. Yeah, there they are. If you are neutral, you can re-roll any glancing strike. So those usually are missed, but if you are neutral, you can re-roll those and aim for one of those good things. If you are scored, if you are improved, if you have a bonus, then you re-roll this and this. And if you are weakened, you cannot re-roll anything. And when you see it like this, it's like, oh, I can tell you in a much, well, for me at least, easier way to understand. If you start from the top, like those are misses, everything is bad. If you are improved, you re-roll those. If you are neutral, you re-roll this. And if you are weak, you re-roll nothing. So basically, the more you have bonuses in your attack, the more you will start to re-roll stuff. And when you read it like this, it's like, basically, bonus gives you more rerolls. You have no bonus, you have no reroll. If you shoot at someone in the forest while you are being suppressed, okay. If you are neutral, you will reroll a little bit and gain some chances. And if you are very good, very well, you go like this. Let's make a test. Let's say with these Galahad tanks, I have 6 dices because I'm shooting at a tank. And let's say I have all the bonuses. I'm shooting good, I aimed, and so I have all the rerolls. I'm like this. That's a good roll, but we're used for me. I have this heroic strike, so I can roll something. And you see, I don't cheat. This is another heroic strike, but since it's not Dystopian Wars, it only explodes once. And since I had a bonus, I never reroll. This I can reroll because I had a combat bonus. I do crazy, well, you know my rolls, I always roll hot. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits. And if I was shooting on myself because it's a mirror match, it's like Dystopian Wars, I check the defense and defense 4, so I need multiples of 4 to do damage. I did 8 hits, so I break 2 times the defense, so I do 2 points of damage. Damage limit is 4, so basically each tank in this mirror match has 4 hull points, hit points, damage limit, whatever. So I basically put one tank at half life, and that is basically how it works. And it's a good system. I really think it's very simple, and I'm pretty sure like we will play once and then it's gonna be very instinctive to just roll like this and oh, misses, but luckily I had all the bonuses, so I can reroll this. Yeah, that's great. Or vice versa, like I make a roll but I have no bonus, like no reroll at all, and I'm like, okay, this is terrible roll, but yeah, oh no, I could have rerolled this with the bonus, but I don't because you are hidden in the forest. But I still have 2 heroic hits, so I can roll 2 more. Okay, great. This is a very simple system, and I think when you will see the first battle report, you will get it right away. And I don't think I will go too much more in detail of the rules. I really just wanted to tease you a little bit this system of like how to make an attack. There are a lot of more rules like how to suppress, but I'm not gonna make a full rule review. The one thing that is important to know is that terrain is extremely important in Dystopian Wars. It gives you a lot of bonuses. Basically, infantry in garrison multiplies its utility and resilience, etc. tenfold. Except some specific infantry that are better that are the same outside as in garrisons. But apart from this, terrains are really, really important. So you need at least, like if you want to make a World War I table, which we might do for the channel, have some bunkers and trenches and stuff. If you make a city map, make sure that you have a lot of buildings, because otherwise it's just a shooting gallery for the vehicles and it's not very fun for the infantry to just get wiped out by the artillery. The infantry, like in all epic scales game, really want to not be taken out of cover. Then there are some aircrafts, but we'll see them next year when they get released. Of course, different point size, up to 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000. Hopefully by the end of the school year, so in June 2025, we'll make our first 3,000 battle report for Armoured Clash, but we'll do many more in the meantime. Some reserves, etc., some scenarios. I'm not sure I have the right to show all the scenarios. I hope they're going to be available online. But yeah, basic scenarios, as always. Same as in Dystopian Wars, the basic scenarios, you've seen them, like they're very basic. And there's probably going to be some campaign rule with like a beach landing, maybe defending while you are at flank, a last stand, convoy ambush, etc. We are really excited to see this. So those are the rules. You get some cards, well, you know how they work, we've seen them. I'm not going to unpack them until the main battle, because I'm not sure actually I can show you all of them inside. Maybe it's a secret, I will see. But you will see them in the battle report soon enough. And yeah, that's it for this little preview of the game itself. Do expect soon, as soon as we receive it, a system, like a full how to start video for the Crown and the Empire. And I will explain a bit more about how basic reinforced full strength unit work. Basically, the larger scale battle you play, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 points, the more you can put big units of like not only 2 tanks, which is basic unit, but 4 tanks, which is reinforced, and full strength, which is 6 tanks then. And you have some building composition, some battle groups for your forces that allow to break these rules. So we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail. But the very cool thing is that each set of basic reinforced full strength is a set of the box, like it's 2 sprues. So basically you buy a box of infantry, you can make each infantry at the basic size. You buy the same box again, you get reinforced size, and then you buy a third box, you have full strength. And for example, you have for this Battle for Singapore, 1 set of infantry for the Crown, so you can make all the infantry at the basic level. 1 set of armor for the Crown, so each tank you can put them at the basic level, and same for the Empire. But in the 1-player starter set for the Crown, for example, you have 4 sprues of infantry and 4 sprues of tanks, so you can put each unit that you want, either 2 basic units or 1 reinforced unit. So very cool, clever system. It prevents you a little bit from doing conversion and stuff, but still, I think it's still the best way to go forward. Very happy with all of this. Do expect our next videos soon. First, how to start, and then battle reports, of course. Thank you very much for having watched until the end. As always, all the YouTube things, like, subscribe. You can, if you put a comment, you can gain full Union or Covenant Armada, and we're getting very, very close to ending this. So let's finish it up, and then we'll make another game on like this. Thank you guys. If you have any question, let us know in the comments. Go on the Discord, say hi, and until the next video, take care of yourself, and remember to keep things fair in love and war games. Bye.